Hey everyone, I'm Kloo. So first off, while this is a box opening, it's not the typical format you might see, it's more of a sorting video. But I will be sure to show off any Majestics, Legendaries, or Cold Foils I find, and they should be located in the center of the screen. Everything else is being sorted by its type in terms of its hero class. Other than that, we will be using this time to discuss a few things, and a forewarning, like everything on the internet, take it with a grain of salt, and everything is my own opinion, but I would love to hear yours. Well then, today's topic of choice. Can you put a price on happiness? Well, to be more exact, nostalgia. That's not how the question's usually phrased. Then again, nostalgia is essentially the happiness of reliving something. And how much for a box of nostalgia? Well, Hasbro seems to think $999 is fair. Which means, of course, we're talking about Magic 30th Anniversary Edition, where, for just $999, you can experience firsthand the heyday of Magic, be it an experience you had in your youth, or maybe just heard about from someone who is actually passionate about the game. Yeah, so at its core, this is a box of nostalgia, and it's not for you. Don't take it the wrong way. Even if this box was priced reasonably, it's still not a product designed for you. We are no longer the target consumer for Hasbro. Anyone who is concerned with the secondary market is not a high-value customer to Hasbro. We'll use Monopoly as an example, Hasbro's own golden child. Every time a new version, or to view it similar to Magic, a new set of Monopoly comes out, if it's of interest to someone, they buy the whole set. Despite having the exact same format, for the most part, the customer is persuaded to rebuy all the game pieces to construct the same deck, just in a new stylized theme. You don't go to a secondary dealer and purchase just a few game pieces to mix and match, despite the fact that, again, it is the exact same game with the exact same format where every set piece has the same role. Technically, you could mix and match it. The majority of Monopoly is reusable. You could take all the blue cards from, I don't know, a Pokemon-themed Monopoly set, and then all the green cards from another set, and so on and so forth, and make your own stylized Monopoly. But you don't. You buy whatever set in its entirety that you like straight from Hasbro. Is it sinking in yet? How valuable this mentality is? Wouldn't you agree that Hasbro, knowing full well that this mentality is real, wouldn't they do everything they possibly could to create a consumer base that has this mentality, even if it meant they would lose the majority of the old consumer base? Now, here's the important thing to consider. At any point, Hasbro could destroy the secondary market, and I mean completely destroy it. There's nothing to stop them. Yes, maybe there's an argument for the reserve list, but then again, they could just power creep the whole game and make every previous game piece obsolete. But then, they lose out on all the revenue that the secondary market currently provides to, well, everyone but Hasbro. So, what do? What have they been doing slowly and slowly that people have mistaken for just a mosquito bite, when in fact, it's full-blown malaria? Reprints. Reprints that have made some people upset, and others happy. Happy that these cards are now more accessible to them. And I wonder, which of these two do you reckon Hasbro wants to keep around? Slowly and surely, Hasbro has been undercutting the secondary market through reprints, not making huge waves, just steadily siphoning away its wealth and value. And now, we have Magic 30th Edition, Hasbro's chance to accomplish a multitude of things. One way or the other, no matter how you look at it, 30th Anniversary Edition is going to be successful. Just maybe not for the reasons you might think. So then, what is 30th Anniversary Edition? Well, at its core, it's a way for Hasbro to remarket the love for the game older players have to a newer audience. When I said this product wasn't meant for you, I meant it. It's designed for a new audience. An audience that now has the opportunity to buy a nostalgic experience at a reasonable price. And that's another thing I mean. While it's not reasonable in terms of value for what you're buying, it is incredibly reasonable for the experience. Anyone debating the economics behind buying a real piece of power and spending an obnoxious amount on trying to open a proxy version of it is already a lost cause. They are trying to sell the experience, and in order to do that, they need a price point that attempts to maintain the value of these cards. Had they made a more accessible price point, then of course the chase would be lost, and the product would have received possibly a huger amount of backlash when it sells out. And while it would have served a better purpose of celebrating 30 years as a collector's piece, Hasbro simply doesn't want collectors. They want hobbyists and gamblers. So instead, you get a product strategically marketed right before December, when a person's budget for luxury spending will be at its highest, a product that they've correctly marketed as an experience, not an investment. So then, what is its overall purpose? Because just as many have deemed it, it's not a celebration of 30 years, rather it's an invitation and largely a test for Hasbro. Hasbro will use it to determine their new audience's spending power and willingness. It will also allow Hasbro to test its ability to organize and self-distribute its product on a larger scale than Secret Layers. If we compare it to Pokemon, they bought their own printers. Now, imagine if Hasbro can essentially take back its distribution and more specifically its MSRP. Connect the dots. What if Hasbro could absorb the retail price for its products, and then all of a sudden the price increase they've undergone could be marketed as a huge discount for consumers buying straight from Hasbro? You think Pokemon's saving a lot in manufacturing costs? Just imagine if Hasbro cuts out its distribution fees. If they can do it with Secret Layers, if they can do it with 30th Anniversary Edition, what's stopping them from doing an entire set direct to the consumer? Now, there's a few ways it could go on the 28th. It could sell out, or we could be told it sells out, and then even if it sits for the whole day, which I doubt that Hasbro would actually let it, it's still Hasbro opening up a larger product e-store. Now, to be honest, if I was Hasbro, I would be greedy. I'd let it sit for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, label it as sold out, and then come back in a week saying, in the spirit of 30 years, we decide to print more and allow another opportunity for customers to buy the product. That would accomplish two things. First, it would give them a little leeway on delivery, citing that the second batch may take longer to print, package, and ship. And second, it would give them data on consumer FOMO, by which I mean the amount of people who might have boycotted the sale initially and then caved because of the simple fact that it's now being re-offered to them. Now, you might think that this type of data isn't really important, but an important thing to remember is the mentality that I'm pitching for Hasbro is that they're trying to create a new consumer audience while retaining only a portion of the old consumers. They're not trying to keep the old consumers happy. They're trying to continuously cycle through a new audience that is attracted to whatever theme they throw at Magic. Since they're not sharing the print numbers, there's a lot they could understand with this sales metric, especially going into any other product that is going to heavily reprint an older set. Again though, this is all my speculation, but it is pretty clear that they're heading in the direction of printing everything to oblivion and reprinting those older sets in order to essentially package the nostalgia older players had to their new audience at a price that undercuts the ability to essentially buy either sealed product or cards from that era. If they can charge $999 for alpha proxies, a higher premium than remastered sets, then the data would imply that they can now attach a higher premium to their reprints, a premium that sits closer in line with the secondary market. Flesh and Blood offers a great example of how this principle should be handled. FaB has a history set. It's closer to revised in terms of Magic, but it also has a premium attached to it. It currently sits slightly above the price point of the unlimited sets it pulls cards from. Now, to respect their players and the secondary market, not only does this price point sit closer to the unlimited prints than the first edition, no cards receive any special treatment. It tries to balance offering old cards to players and not disturbing the secondary market. Hasbro is now realizing that they can go in the complete opposite direction. Not only have they realized they can use retro art as a specialty variation, they're now trying to gauge if they can have a price point closer to the original products. The 30th Anniversary Edition is priced at current market revised booster packs. That is the purpose of 30th Anniversary, to see if they can increase the amount of value they siphon away from the secondary market by increasing the premium attached to high value reprints. Regardless of whether it does sell out or not, it's still an important first step towards capitalizing on the secondary market and testing a new distribution model. One way or the other, it's going to be a successful market test for Hasbro. This is the price point they believe is fair and the price point they believe it will sell for. Even if they're wrong, they're only going to slightly tweak that price point until they can get something in line with the secondary market. In my opinion, this is them trying to redefine how Magic is marketed. They want a product similar to Monopoly, a product they can sell as an entire set, a product that is now incentivized to players to open because its price point does sit below that of the secondary market. 30th Anniversary Edition is essentially the opportunity for players to get Magic approved cards that they might not necessarily be able to afford in their original condition. If 30th Anniversary was $100 a pack, Would you buy it? How about $150? $200 maybe? These are still high price points for a single pack of cards. But I can guarantee at $100, I'm sure a lot of you probably thought about it. $150, still some of you. And guess what? At $200, you're still considering it because it sits below the value of a revised booster pack, an unlimited booster pack, all these additions that you might want to open, but you can't afford. To make it simple, they're trying to create a Black Lotus that, say, the poor man can't afford, but is still tantalizing enough to someone who wants an unlimited version. They're trying to figure out the maximum value they can charge for high-end reprints. And guess what? It looks a lot better coming down in price, starting high and working your way down, than increasing the price until you hit that target. Hasbro is doing this the smartest way possible.